Hello YouTubers, today's video is a look and tour of Steamboat Rv Park in Jenison, Michigan. Now what you're looking at is an actual working steamboat, the Grand Lady. This boat is used during the spring and summertime and into part of the fall for dinner cruises and tours up and down the Grand River. Obviously it's out of the water right now in dry dock, and that's because of this is December 25th and normally it's much colder. Now I know this might seem meaningless to you, but the reason I'm showing you this particular shot is that the main street is Cottonwood and you turn onto 10th Avenue to get on, head towards the RV park. If you're coming from the south on Cottonwood, then that's going to be a real tight hairpin turn. Use caution, take it slow, and especially if there's another vehicle in the way. It is not very well marked. Use your GPS. That's going to be invaluable for you. Otherwise you're going to drive right past it. You may possibly pass the street, pull into a parking lot someplace where you can turn around and come back. Might make things a little easier. This particular RV park is not very well marked. Now here you might see this is a truck that's coming in headed towards the neighborhood, but yeah, it does have a sharp right turn when you come in from the south. So I'll go ahead, I'm going to proceed on through the residential area to kind of show you basically what we're going to be or what you're going to have to do. It's not off of a main thoroughfare. 10th is very well, it's not very narrow, but it goes right through a residential area. There's a lot of houses in here. There seems to be, it's I guess an estate area or whatever, but there is a place right here on the way in where they do sell firewood. I think they do pretty well because the park is right up here. But you would have no clue that you're going to an RV park by driving down this particular road. It's strictly a residential area around here. There's no businesses anywhere near this this particular area of, you know, when you're entering the park. There is Jenison, which is very well populated, has a lot of businesses. Myers, which is a big chain area here in the Grand Rapids or Michigan area or Midwest. There's also all your major drug chains. There's Tractor Supply, there's restaurants, there's all kinds of things around here, automotive supplies. So there's a lot to do, and again, you're right next to Grand Rapids. Now, I'm driving by on the right, you can't really see it, but there is a golf course here. And I didn't even know about it until till today when I drove by it and noticed it. So, of course, we've been driving a lot at night, going to and from families' homes, and I was more intense as far as looking at the path to get into the RV park. So then as we drive through here, and there's a truck that's sitting there right now, but this is basically the only sign that you're going to see. You know, it's this campground and RV, or campground and riverboat. It's pretty well marked with signs as far as how to get back to the RV park. The park, I'd have to double check, but my guess is they probably have maybe between 1 and 200 spots. All that I can tell are full hookups. Just here on the left is the bathhouse. That's what they pull out in the fall, and they keep it in storage until late spring when the waters have gone down. It's less chances of flooding. Also on the left is the RV storage. Here's a look at the storage for RVs not in use right now, whether it's winter or summer. Boat storage, as well as the airport hangars in the background. Just ahead is the river. You have parking set aside here for the riverboat, and this is where it's normally moored. And then you go straight forward for the campground. Check-in during the normal season would be right down one of the gangplanks, and the office is at the very front. I believe this is not only their office, I believe it's, I'm not sure if it's a kitchen or not, but it's also the residence right behind it. Very nice people. Everything I did was by phone. Appears on the left, there's propane available, as well as gasoline. You would probably check with them to find out for availability. The office is located right on the river. It's a modified barge. This is where you would come in to check in for the RV park, as well as to take the riverboat rides. That, by the way, is usually moored right next to it, or just in front of it, I should say. Now, if you need to get a hold of them, whether to make a reservation, you can do it online, or else call their office at 616-457-4837. Again, I apologize, it's kind of a cloudy day. It was raining this morning, but the winds are calm and the river is just so peaceful. It's just lazily flowing down the river, so downstream. This is really picturesque when the leaves are out and everything's in bloom. Now, as we're driving through here, you're going to see, well, for once on the right is the boat ramp. The RV park does have a ramp which you can use to launch your boat if you care to go out fishing, which is very good on the Grand River. It looks like a pretty good ramp. And you can see the ramp fee is $10. And if you're registered here at the RV park, it is free. Since you do have seasonal and full-time RVers here at this park, they do have a parks package station as well as a mail drop-off. And by the way, right behind it, that is the Jenison Airport, believe it or not. So it's relatively a small residential airport or regional airport, but it's kind of interesting. Trash dump is located throughout the park at various locations. The park is mostly long, not wide, and so they've spaced them along the line to make things convenient for the campers. But you're going to notice that all the electrical hookups, as well as their electrical service, is all elevated. And that's because it's right next to the Grand River, and this will rise dramatically in the spring when waters are really flowing and the snow is melting. We get high rains or heavy rains, it too will happen. It's a little higher than what it normally is. Now the sites, here we got from 1 to 25. You go through this little side, tells you again, stay on the right, go to the left if you're not. So right for 1 to 25, and then if you're going farther, you go farther up ahead. You'll notice there's a lot of seasonal people here where they appear to be here full time. Lots are gravel, very level. Their riverboat being stored right here on the right hand side. Some of the spots are back in. This is obviously a full-timer. Very interesting. I haven't seen something like this around here before. Got a little small area here. I think this is one of their newer spots. Not very big. Now these sites are all full hookup. Electrical service for 20 amp, 30 and 50 amp. The 20 amp right now is hooked up or being used by the water service or water heat tape that's wrapped around the water line that goes from the spigot down to the frost line. So you may have to have a converter from a 30 or 50 amp to a 20 amp. That's if you're here in the winter time. But as you can see, all the service is well elevated, especially the water service. And then what I've done personally is, because I'm here in the winter time, I've got a good flexible hose with heat tape wrapped around it and then held on with just pipe insulation, and that keeps the water from freezing when it's really cold. Fortunately, we have not had that problem this year because the temperature is so warm. I think right now we're probably right around 43 to 45 degrees. Yesterday it was over 50, and that was Christmas Eve. Lots, as I've been saying and will be saying later on, are very level. I do have mine raised up a little bit on the driver's side because when my slides come out, it does put some weight on it, and it goes a little bit to the left. So water pressure is very good. It's running right at 30 pounds, which seems to be doing pretty good for us. Electrical service all checked out very well. Sewer, I haven't got mine hooked up right now. I'll be doing that later on today or tomorrow morning when I actually do my dump. It's right in the middle of the spot. You can see all the lots are pretty good size. sneak by this guy. This is a very new area right here. I'm going to backtrack a little bit and go over to where the pool and the clubhouse is normally parked. Straight ahead is our Jake flight. This is where we have been sitting since December 23rd, and we'll be leaving on tomorrow, December 26th. You'll obviously be seeing this much later. Here's a good sight of all the elevated electrical service. And then this is where the clubhouse would normally sit, in the pool right behind the fence. This is the park's portable bathhouse. Now, I haven't seen anything like this before either. Maybe some of you have. But they remove this every fall and keep it out until late spring, because since the park is located so close to the river as well as the pool, they don't want the clubhouse, or not the clubhouse, but the pool house slash bathhouse to get damaged from high water levels, and the Grand River will rise up considerably. So again, what they do is they spot this in its spot down in front next to the pool in the late spring, and they pull it out in the fall. This has got restrooms. I believe it might even have laundry, but and the restrooms. Here. Obviously, they don't have any restrictions as far as the age of your RV. There's some older ones in here, and there's some newer ones. I know a few people personally that stayed here, and they love it. And I can understand why. I like it here, and this is the middle of December. When I called to make the check on availability, I talked to the owner, who wasn't in the office at the time. He just connected right to his cell phone, but he was very friendly. Here you can see where the water hookup is and how it's so well elevated. Again, every one of these hookups are the same. I have not seen a dump station, and that possibly could be because there's full hookups. I could be wrong, and they're constantly doing things to this park. This section here is probably, my guess is no more than a year old, maybe a little longer. but if my memory is correct, I was watching a YouTube video on this place, and the creator was talking about this area that was under construction, and I think this video was only about a year old, or was shot in late 2020. Well, I'm just driving by lot 115. I don't know if this is towards the end or or in the middle of it, but we are on, by the way, lot 60. So I'll stand by the guess that the lots are probably about 150, 200. But that's constantly changing. I hope you enjoyed this look at the Steamboat RV Park in Jenison, Michigan. And if you like this video, please hit the thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe. And most of all, thanks for watching.